What's up, y'all? Welcome back to the Onyx Report, Black Masculinist news for the day. I hope you're well. Y'all know what it is. You guys have seen this joint before. I think it's become extremely popular. And normally, contrary to common sense as it may be, sometimes the more popular stuff I really don't even want to deal with. But I had a conversation with a good brother of mine, and he said something that really got me thinking. And so it kind of sparked a conversation that I thought needed to be shared, or at least the outcomes of which needed to be shared briefly, as it is. Anyway, so I'll play a little bit of this because you guys have more than likely seen this one, right? Popular media. Let's see it.
Okay, no, it's you. Now you are. Oh my God! Oh my God! Do you see this? Oh my God! I never thought nothing like this would happen to me. She just tried to run and hit me, and now she. Did you see her? You saw her, right? They all saw her. Oh my God! Karen had a breakdown. She tried to hit me. Ask your workers. She tried to hit me. She tried to hit me. Now I want security for you. Oh my God. Oh my God. You should have thought about that before you did what you did. Oh my God. This shit don't even feel real. This do not feel real.
You can just walk from here. I see the shorty. Would you please don't record me? Don't record me.
Y'all gotta get security. She charged me. If I wouldn't have ducked, she would. Oh no, you just wanted security for me, right? I want security for you now. No, don't cry. No. I want you to call security. Thank you. I just came to get my free panty. You know how you get the coupon in the mail? And I gotta pick up my Converse boots from Nordstrom. I don't know why this is happening to me. Don't charge me. Oh, you wanna? Yeah, she. I'm scared to even approach her.
Please.
You scaring me. Like you gonna go postal. No, why don't she walk away from me? No, I was here. No. We're not doing this. Why don't I walk away from her? Why don't she get away from me? She could get away. Go wherever you want to go. This is crazy. Oh. I'm sorry. I'll pick up that. Ooh. You keep lying saying I'm threatening you, so I'm recording to protect myself.
Can you please stop recording?
Yeah. Crazy lady. And she attacked me and try to say I attacked her. You cut. Look.
Get away from me!
Oh, y'all better get this lady.
Get away from me!
You better. Look at this. Security.
Get the fucker!
Security. Look at this. Yes. Can y'all
Get her away from me! Get her away from me!
Get
Get her away from me! Get her away from me!
No, I got to. This will attack myself. She's trying to attack me. No.
Stop threatening me!
See, and she's saying I'm threatening her. I'm not saying nothing to her. It's to protect me. Once the law get here, who they gonna believe? Her white ass or my black ass?
No! Get her away from me, please! Stop her recording from me!
Where's security in these short hills, y'all? Oh my God, in these short hills.
Get her away!
I gotta stop coming here. I thought this was a safe mall.
She's recording me.
Now, I ain't played a part. I think there's a part two, where security actually gets there, and for my, if they're somewhat indifferent, you know. I think, look, what the brother and I were having a conversation about in regard to this got all over the internet and went viral, and in many ways it was hilarious. Not necessarily. I'm not tripping on the breakdown per se. The sister's comments is what had me. She was having the whole time. She was like, "Oh my goodness, I can't come back to this mall." That was hilarious. And you know, she actually did what I urge brothers to do a lot, which is videotape. Get that shit. Anything that gets strange, you pull out your cameras for real. And I don't care who it's with, you know. So I applaud that she did that. And I think that's really become a way of protecting oneself in this era. It really has. It's one of the things that separates this era from previous eras. And now you have visual confirmation in ways that are, you know, fairly easy to get. Whereas in, you know, I mean, if you think about Rodney King, when that was recorded, I mean, it was blind luck that you had somebody with a camera, you know, within visual range of him being beaten by cops. We've been talking about that for decades, but to actually have, you know, somebody in visual range to record it was unheard of. I mean, maybe a news crew and then they could block it, but just a casual everyday citizen, that was new. So 1992, that was groundbreaking. Right now it's quite common, you know. So I urge people to protect yourself in such ways. But conversation the brother and I had, he said something I thought really kind of sparked me in a way I hadn't thought about. And he said, you know, it's a trip. We see these videos and everybody responds to it. But he said, when it comes to black men, we have a relationship with white women's tears that no other group understands. He says their tears have often meant our death. And he was absolutely right. Their tears has been synonymous with our lynching. This is how we talk about black men being raped during enslavement. It wasn't because, you know, women held them down and put a knife to their throat or a gun to their throat. You know, definitely that took place with certain white men who raped black men during enslavement. But when it came to white women, more often than not, it was her voice, more specifically her tears, that was used as a form of proxy threat, right? It was the threat of bringing a lynch mob by proxy. Now, in a lighter kind of way, this woman is doing something similar by positioning herself as a victim. She's hoping that when security gets there, they will get the sister out of the dynamic. You know, they'll remove the black woman from the dynamic so she can continue on with her day. That is what it is. Inconvenient, yes. But for black men, can you imagine if this white woman was acting that way in response to a black male? Can you imagine what the thought would be? Especially on behalf of security, right? Because even as it was, you had people that were already telling the black woman to get out of the way and leave her alone strictly on the basis of her crying. Can you imagine how a black male would have been treated in the same circumstance? How many people would just naturally assume he did something simply because she's crying? And what that would result in more often than not by the time you get security and police there. So what the conversation was about this was simply the difference in how we are received, not just by this white woman, but by the authorities that come to bear, and how seriously they generally take white women's tears at the expense of black male life. And so it's getting to a point where black men are reaching, are dialoguing with one another. If this, phone call is any indication, and these are hardly isolated conversations that I have with brothers, and more, as we start to recognize the difference in our treatment from pretty much everyone else. These things are amusing at best, but they're becoming more than anything else evidence of how different our experience is, even from the women in our own community. Any other demographic in the community you want to talk about. This is more widespread than any of those. So, next time you see something like this, I want you to actually question, how would this go differently if it was a brother? And how seriously should I take this? How upset should I be knowing, as my brother said, this black woman walked away with her life when this was over? Minor inconvenience to her day, but she's alive. How do black men begin to process these experiences that don't end in death? I'm not saying we need to be frustrated at, black women or whatever. It's not about that. I'm just simply asking the question, somewhat philosophically, but how does this change, or should it change, our perspective when we see so many other people walking away with their lives from interactions that we can't fathom having? Just curious. Like your thoughts? Write them down, shoot them in the comment section. Hope to hear from you. Wish you guys well. Peace.